everyone. We're back for another Spoilers with Friends, and this time Ann and I are going to be discussing Event Horizon, which is, I guess, a little over 20 years old now, maybe, but still holds up. We both like it a lot, so I'll throw it over to Ann to get some initial thoughts.
It's one of my favorite horror movies. I'm not exactly sure why. It's really scary haunted house stuff in space. Mm-hmm. And I like space. Like all the creepy shapes of the corridors. And I mean, honestly, I don't understand what that terribly elaborate design for their gravity drive has to do with
anything.
Faster than light travel, but it's beautiful. Creepy.
Yeah, very creepy. The whole room with I don't know, there's water in it, and it's just weird. It's a whole set there.
And spikes sticking out of the wall. It doesn't seem OSHA certifiable.
No, I guess not. But yeah, it's a good haunted house thing where you have an explanation for why they can't just leave the haunted house.
Yes.
Back to Event Horizon. So we're out in outer space where we can't leave, and creepy things are happening, right? Because this thing has come back. Now, it does trip one of the things that annoys me when you have some things like this, or like it's like a vampire movie or a zombie movie sometimes, the main character ends up working by themselves because they go around saying, there's vampires, and people are like, vampires don't exist, and then they all get eaten. And you're thinking, if you were smart, you go, there are people who believe they're vampires, and then you could maybe get them in to where, carry holy water with you because they believe it works against them, right? Or
why not?
And then you can get the police or whatever to protect themselves with whatever crosses because these perps believe in it, right? So here we have where they're going, this has been to hell. And it's like, yeah, I don't know that it's been to hell, but it's been somewhere maybe the human psychology can't deal with.
It's been so bad. Somewhere
awful and hellish, but is it hell or is it just another dimension that we can't handle? Our minds are just not equipped for it.
I don't think you ever really find out, but It's scary enough either way. That's part of what I like about it. It's kind of, it makes little sense, but then it makes a lot of sense.
I like that it had gone somewhere that, because our minds are limited. They're little 3 pounds of nerve matter, and can't handle everything, I'm sure. And so you've been to another dimension. Maybe that drives people crazy. I don't know, but without having to bring any religious, we went to hell kind of thing, you have this already a great explanation for it. It's just been somewhere.
Yeah, and I think that adds to it for me because you don't have to believe the whole exorcist type dogma.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter. It's just been something scary.
Yeah, and you don't want to go there.
Right, you don't want to go there. And if Lawrence Fishburne is scared of it, it's real.
There you go.
That's the thing. Like everybody else on the ship can go crazy. It's like, well, okay. If Lawrence Fishburne's freaking out, yeah, it's serious.
Yeah. So yeah, I think they did a great job. I love the cast. I love when I can't remember the characters' names now, where the guy's gonna get blown up and he sees the bomb and he sees there's like 4 seconds left on it and he just kind of like. And you're like, oh no, you just feel for the guy, right? Because he can see the countdown right there. Because bombs always have digital countdowns on them, right? It's the way you build a bomb.
I guess. I
in the movies, at least, and TV shows. Yeah.
Yeah, and that poor guy was like one of the funniest, nicest people on the crew, and you think he's gonna make it.
Right.
It's like, nope, 4 seconds.
But they do some interesting things like people survive in outer space for a few seconds, which you could, actually. Because technically, it's really cold, but there's nowhere to vent warmth to, right? So you don't freeze right away. But you would get a really nasty case of the bends right away.
Yes.
So
I think they did a good job with that on whatever the guy's name was, Baby Bear.
Mm-hmm.
That blows the air. And,
right. So they know they can get him within a few seconds that, he'll be damaged, but he'll still be alive. So.
Yeah. I think one of the creepiest things in it is the little boy. Mm-hmm. The mom has this terrible guilt for leaving her child behind. and that's what she sees is her sick child, who then becomes deranged and comes after her. But that's one of the spookiest moments, I think.
Yeah, I just had a hard time taking the setting the charges part. That was the suspenseful part. I think maybe because nothing's happening, but you know it could happen at any time because you know they're being watched, right?
Yes.
So
and you hear like really great big banging noises, and you don't know what's going on. You don't know who's about to become the devil or go crazy or pull their eyes out or whatever they do.
Right. So you're kind of like just waiting, and nothing's happening, and you're just like, oh my God, nothing's happening, but I'm scared, right? Because they're setting more charges. Will this plan work? Or is it just watching them and letting them, set a few so they feel good for a few minutes, and then is it just going to come in and, like, ha, I was watching the whole time.
Yeah.
We do have sort of an open ending, though. Is some of this consciousness left on the ship? Where the...
Yeah. I know. Yeah. What would stop it from being left on the ship? It's here now.
So you wouldn't think it was all sort of concentrated in the gravity drive and it went back there with Lawrence Fishburne, or just maybe the most of it? Or
I guess that depends on whether they got the money to make a sequel, which apparently they didn't. But
yeah, what happens when they get back to Earth, right? And you have this something that's come through from another place. So
could still be here.
Mm-hmm.
They could still do a sequel. I'd like that.
Space seems to drive people crazy in movies a lot.
I would imagine space would drive people crazy in real life. I mean, even if there's nothing supernatural going on at all, that would be a pretty harsh existence. I'm impressed with anybody that can stay on a space station for a year.
And I guess at least there you can call home or whatever, and it's, there's no drag. Or if you're like on Mars, you're going to have 20 minutes or something, and then you can respond, and they have to wait 20 minutes. So it's a 40-minute round trip or whatever, depending how far away Mars is at the time. But yeah, so they're at Neptune, so they can't just call Earth and say we're having problems, because they're not going to hear it for a few hours.
Wow. I was reading an article the other day about divers who work on like big oil wells. And these tubes that they have to stay in, and just a grueling life. It sounds worse than Event Horizon, actually. But they get paid like $1,800 a day.
Okay.
But if you can make it through the day, I guess you get your $1,800, and it's awful, but it sounds like space.
Yeah, because I was thinking, in Sunshine, have you seen that one?
I haven't.
Okay, that's another one I would recommend. The premise of that movie is that you have to buy into is that the sun is like going out and we can do something to stop it. If you buy that's the premise. Then 7 years before the movie takes place, we sent a first ship up there toward the sun to help, but we never hear from it again. So now we've built a second one, but this is used all the resources on Earth. There's no third chance. These guys have to restart the sun, or the whole race, our whole planet's gone. But it turns out the first crew went nuts. So, and the second crew is not too far behind. But one of the things they do early in the movie is there's some point where you get too close to the sun where we can't send signals. I guess the magnetism or radiation or whatever from the sun interferes with our communications. So at some point you call home for the last time, and that's that. You're now 7 people in space with no contact with Earth ever again, basically. And the way this drags on different people, and everyone has they do a good character study almost of everybody of these 7 people. So the way they respond to all these things in space, that all these dangers, and some people fall apart and some people become heroic, but everybody's different. So
sounds reasonable.
It's an interesting movie. You do have to, unfortunately, toward the end, have to buy a second thing that I never really did buy into, but overall, I would recommend that movie. So.
Well, I mean, I like the core, so
that one
doesn't matter to me. I don't care how far-fetched it is, as long as it's cool.
Well, in Sunshine, they did use, I think Brian Cox was their physicist go-to guy. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure he does a commentary track. I can't remember. if he did it or just the director talked about talking with him.
Cool.
It's been too long. But, so there are exaggerations for Hollywood, I guess. But overall, they try to kind of stick to physics and make things work the way they actually would work. And this kind of way the sun might go out apparently is theoretically possible.
I've always heard that eventually it will.
Like 5 billion years from now.
Yeah.
But it could apparently, theoretically, there's a way that the math says it could possibly happen now. If something, but I don't know enough math. There's just
a party.
But so they kind of went with something that was sort of even at least theoretically possible as their main problem. So they kind of tried to keep it more or less in the real universe, physics-wise. But it is the main character who's played by Cillian Murphy is kind of based off of Brian Cox.
Oh, I like him. He's creepy no matter what he's doing.
It's Chris Evans, Cillian Murphy, Michelle Yeoh, Benedict Wong. Rose Byrne. I'm only missing 2 people. I can't remember off the top of my head the other 2 people, but that's basically who's in the movie. So
sounds like a good.
I want to recommend.
Rather than watching Event Horizon 40 times, I could watch something else, I suppose.
Well, Event Horizon is creepy even on the second, third, or fourth viewings, definitely.
I guess it's one of those things that when I need to write a big paper or something, I put on horror movies in the background just for something that calms me down. Maybe because it's like, well, I have to write this brief, but at least I'm not stuck on a ship that's been to hell.
There you go.
So it makes my life look a lot calmer.
Mm-hmm.
And I like Sam. He's good.
Who is?
Sam Neill. I like him.
Okay.
He's good, and he goes deliciously crazy. I think he's a good evil person.
Yeah, which he was in Omen 3 or something, wasn't he? Like the Antichrist and.
Yeah, he was the Antichrist, and he made a pretty good Antichrist. I wish. Well, I won't say.
So yeah, I don't know what all to say about this movie except that I really thought it was cool. I liked the concept. I liked the way they did like the special effects and everything. The cast was great. I don't know what's.
Yeah,
if you like horror movies, you're gonna like this one, I think.
The artistic design is beautiful. I mean, it's not quite alien, but it kind of has some of the same ideas. But like one of the main corridors is basically shaped like an eye. It's like that eye-shaped tunnel, and there's just little details like pens floating around in space or things like that everything in it is creepy. Like I noticed in the medical bay there's a bunch of x-rays, what look like deformed heads in the background, so they spent a lot of time making the sets really interesting, and they're scary.
Yeah, and we even have like some human failure in a sense, where like in The Circle, which we did a couple of months ago, when the archaeologist and his students show up to that place on the island, they just magically have a Norwegian student or a Swedish student who can read the Old Norse, right? And she's right. Yeah. She's accurate, right? But in this one, you have the sidekick character who's like, well, they're speaking Latin, and I think this is what they're saying, and it turns out he's wrong. Right.
Right.
And then later he's like, "Oh, I think I misheard it. This is what they were saying," and
Yeah, you could fudge that because they couldn't hear the recording as well. They cleaned it up later.
Mm-hmm.
But I actually looked that up once. I had a couple of years of Latin, and I looked it up. And there's someone else has bothered to look this up on the internet before, and apparently it's not quite accurate. But it's close enough. It sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
Save yourself from hell.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, that's good advice, but they don't manage it. And now it looks like they might be bringing it back to Earth.
Yeah, and it looks bad. I mean, what they cleaned up on the video of what happened to the previous crew is... I like the way they shot that because it's obviously really, really horrible, but it goes by so fast you can't really tell exactly what anybody's doing. You just know it's gross.
Mm-hmm. There's lots of body horror going on there.
Yeah, lots of blood, lots of chewing things.
And eyeballs and hands and all kinds of interesting.
Yeah, you could see, that was one of the few things you could see. That was nasty. It was cool when the frozen body fell down and shattered into a whole bunch of pieces, too. That was an interesting effect. Yeah,
I don't think that would have happened, but it was cool.
It was cool. Yeah, like I said, scientific impossibility isn't something that worries me much. I'm not deGrasse Tyson.
I haven't talked a whole lot about Event Horizon, but I think it's because we just both liked it.
We just like it. I don't know.
There's nothing to really complain about. If you haven't seen it, see it.
Yeah, see it. It's good. I like the actors. I like the characters get on well together. It doesn't have stupid dialogue.
Yeah.
It's just a very well put together horror movie, I think.
All right. So in terms of creepy doll heads, let's give it all 5.
Yeah, I'd give that one all 5. That's one of my favorites.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for watching another episode of Spoilers with Friends, where we kind of went far afield, but I hope that was enjoyable. Hit like and subscribe, and possibly hit that bell notification button so you'll know when I upload more videos. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.